In this lecture, we will have a look at linear data structures. One of them is the array. You might have studied about arrays in your programming class. We will take a much deeper look into those arrays as we go along in this course. So to begin with an introduction, the arrays is a collection of similar data elements. That means the data elements are having the same data type. So if the elements, all these elements in an array would either be integers, or they will all be characters, or they will all be floats, or they can be structures. So all the data elements would be having a similar data type. Also, the elements are stored in consecutive memory locations, and each memory location can be referenced by an index. So suppose if this is an array, this is the name of the array, marks, and the number of elements in this array is given by this 10. This shows an array which can store a maximum of 10 elements, and the name of this array is marks. This shows the data type of the elements which are present in this array, and each element over here can be referenced by an index. So this is index 0, this is index 1, 2 and so on till 9. So from 0 to 9 there will be 10 elements. So you can reference them by saying marks 0, which will refer to the first element, then marks 1, that would be the second element in the array, and so on. They are generally used to store large amount of similar type of data. However, the limitation is that it is of fixed size. So once we have declared the array as we took an example earlier, if we have declared it as an array containing 10 elements, then it will not be possible to store more than 10 elements, and trying to access it or trying to store might result in errors. Also, since they are using contiguous memory locations means that if this is the memory and these are the memory locations, so if this is the first location of the first element of the array, then the next location is here, then the next is here. So they are using consecutive memory locations. So many a times if the contiguous memory locations are not available, so suppose there was a case where you had 100 elements in an array, the array was supposed to have 100 elements, and if 100 consecutive memory locations are not available, then that might cause a problem. Also, once the array has been defined and elements have been put over there, if a new element has to be inserted in a particular subscript, in a particular index, or some element has to be deleted, then this can be a little problematic. Linked lists are another linear data structures. They are flexible and have a dynamic data structure. Let's see how. First of all, these linked lists are consisting of elements which are called nodes, and they form a sequential list. That means all these nodes, they come one after the other, not necessarily in contiguous memory location. Now each node will be allocated space only when it is added to the list, and each node contains two types of data. One would be the value of that node, and the other would be the pointer to the next node in the list. So this is one node over here, this is another node, and so on. So as and when new node is added, more space will be allocated to that particular node. You can see that this is the first node and this 15 is the value of this node. 3000 is the memory address of the next node. That means this node is present at memory address 3000. So at 3000, this node is having a value of 3 and it is having a pointer to the next node in the list. So the next node is at memory location 4000. This node at 4000 is having a value 23 and is having a pointer to the next node, which shows that the next node is at memory location 5600. The last node will always contain a null pointer. So this is having a null value, which shows that this is the end or tail of the list. So in case a new node has to be added, it can be created over here. Suppose the value over there was 75 and this node was created at memory location 7000. Then 7000 can be put over here and null can be the last node pointer over here. So we can keep on adding nodes and each node when it is added is allocated more space. So how many total number of nodes can be added? It is limited only by the amount of memory that is available. It is easier to insert or delete data elements in a linked list. However, there is a problem that there is a slow search operation and also it requires more memory space because not only are the values being stored but also pointers to the next node are also required to be stored. The next linear data structure is stacks. Think of it as a stack of plates or a stack of books or a stack of clothes. That means one on top of the other. So if this is a stack of plates and if we want to remove plates, we cannot remove any plate from the center. All the plates that are put in this direction, one on top of the other, and when they are removed from one end only. So this is the basic operation or basic understanding of a stack. So the insertion and deletion of elements, they are done at only one end, which is known as top of the stack. So this you can think of as the top of the stack. You can put a new plate over here and you can remove a plate from the top also. So you can see that this is a last in, first out structure. Whichever plate goes in last will be the first one to be removed also. Similarly, in the case of data, whichever data item is put in first will be the one which will be removed also. So if the data items are going this way, 5, 7, 8, so this is the top. So the data items can be put from here and removed from the top only. So this is a last in, first out LIFO structure, and last element which is added to the stack is the first element which is deleted from the stack also. Now the stacks can be implemented using arrays or linked lists. See, this is an example of array implementation of stack. So these are the way the data items are being added to the stack, and if this is the top, they will be removed from here only, one after the other. So every stack has a variable top which is associated with it, which stores the address of the topmost element of the stack. So if this is a stack, this is the data item which is at the bottom of the stack, and this is the data item which is at the top of the stack, and this is currently the index or the subscript of the topmost element, which is 3, and this is referring to the topmost item in the stack, and this is the place where the element, another new element can be added or the existing element can be deleted. There is another variable which is called max, and this max stores the maximum number of elements that the stack can store. So if you look at this case, there are only 5 maximum elements that can be stored. So max is equal to 5 over here. If top is equal to null, so suppose if the top value is equal to null, then that means that the stack is empty. That means there are no data elements over here and the top will be null. However, if top is equal to max minus 1, the stack is full, because max is 5 and the index is starting from 0. So max minus 1 would be 4, and these are the maximum number of elements that can be put. So if top becomes 4, that is max minus 1, that means there is a value over here also, and that shows that the stack is full. There are 3 basic operations that can be performed on a stack: a push operation, a pop, and a peep operation. So what will the push operation do? It will add an element to top of the stack. So if this is the array implementation of a stack, and currently there are, suppose, these 3 elements, and the maximum number of elements that can be put is 5. These are the subscripts 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and currently you can see that this is top, which is pointing to the top of the element. So if an element has to be added to the stack, top will be incremented by 1 and a new element will be put over here. So suppose a new data element 11 comes over here. So top has now incremented by 1. Now it is pointing to 3, which is again indicating the top of the stack. What does pop do? It removes element from the top of the stack. Any addition or deletion will take place from the top of the stack only. So if an element has to be deleted now, only this element at the top of the stack can be deleted. So again this would be removed and top would be decreased to now point to the next top element of the stack. Another operation is peep or top, which returns the value of the topmost element of the stack. So if this is the current scenario of the stack, then doing a peep operation will return a value 5. By returning a value means that it is giving the value of the top element. It is not deleting it. It is simply showing that the topmost element of the stack is 5. So if any element has to be inserted into the stack, what is the first thing that needs to be done is to check for overflow conditions. Overflow conditions mean that the stack was already full. So suppose if this is the stack and these are the data items that are present over here. Now if you want to insert an element over here, this will result in an overflow. Why? Because the stack was already full and no more new item can be added. So this will result in an overflow condition. Similarly, if we want to delete an item from the stack, the first thing that we need to check is whether an underflow condition is there is a possibility of an underflow condition or not. Underflow means that the stack was empty and now we are trying to delete an element from it. So if we remove or try to delete an element from an already empty stack, that will result in an underflow condition. So these two conditions should always be checked. One is that check for overflow before inserting, check for underflow before deleting. Queues, they are another linear data structure. Queue you can think of as a line. So you have seen queues in front of the ticket counter of a movie hall or on a bus stand. So this queue, you know that people or new entrants will keep on coming at the end of the queue, and from the front of the queue people can leave. So this is a first in first out data structure. Whoever gets in the queue first will be the first one to go out also. So this one would be the second person to go out. This would be the third person to go out. So anyone who comes in first is the first one to leave also. So this is a FIFO data structure. Elements that is inserted first will be the first one to be taken out. So all the elements can be added only at one end, which is called the rear. So this is the rear end. And elements can be removed from the other end, which is called the front end. Again, queues can be implemented using arrays or linked list. So if this is an implementation using arrays, so as you can see, these are the indexes. These are the data values that have been put. This is the front. So that means this was the first data item that came in. And this is the rear because this is the last item that has come in. So any element that is removed will be removed from this end, from the front end. Any new element which comes in will come in at the rear end. So let's see how elements will be inserted. So earlier rear was here. Now a new element has to be inserted. That means it can be inserted only the rear end. So this rear will be incremented and a new element will come here. So this is how insertion of element will take place. But again, before insertion, as with stack, check for overflow conditions. And when will this queue be overflow? This queue will be full when rear is equal to max minus 1. That means the maximum number of elements have been reached. That means when rear is here, that means already elements are here, and this is max minus 1. That means the queue is full and no more elements can be added. Any more insertion will result in an overflow. What about deletion of elements? Deletion can take place only from the front of the queue. So if this element has to be deleted, front would be incremented and it will point to the next element in the queue. Again, if the queue is empty, then deletion will cause an underflow. So always before deleting, check for underflow conditions. And how can we check whether the queue is empty or not? Because in that case, when there are no elements in the queue, the front would always be also equal to null and the rear would also be equal to null. In that case, queue is empty. So we will look about more of these individual linear data structures in more detail in the coming lectures.